Hello. Okay, so this is a short video to show how to test the case management features using the jBPM showcase and Business Central. Right, so to start with, I usually grab the jBPM server distribution, which already has all the setup that's needed. So in this case, the zip file for 7.3. So I just download it here, extract the file. So and then I can start my server. So distribution 7.3. Final clean, and then I just execute standalone. Right. So starting this server, it already has all the users and the setup to connect Business Central, the showcase, and the key server all together. Right, so just gonna wait for it to start, and I can come in here. Okay, so it seems that it put up fine. So starting with the Workbench admin user, so signing in. Right, so the first thing you want to check is to make sure that the application is exactly showing here in the upper right menu. So showcase is here, so we can click there, and it jumps to the application. Right, I can use the same user, Workbench admin. So it's working fine. So this the showcase, it connects to the key server that's running locally on the same server. Right. So next step you want to do to start with, we can go to the authoring part. So in the authoring part, we can start with creating case project. Right, so case project is a different type of project, so it has a few extra setups that's needed for case management, so we can check that those are set up properly. Right, so created a project, and then I wanted to come in here, check the settings, the deployments, and make sure that runtime strategy is set as per case, and the marshalling strategies it's using the case marshaller factory. Right, so regarding creating the new project, that's about it. You can check also there's a work item handler here for starting the case instance. So that's all good, and then the next step is to play around with the case IT order sample. So that's one of the default examples that comes within Business Central. So we import that, and then we build and deploy the project. So that all should work fine. Once we import the project, I usually come in here and make sure that the model for the case can be opened by the designer. So this one is still the legacy one. So that's the model we want to use, and that's about it. So we can also check in the settings here that we imported correctly. So checking the deployment, the runtime strategy is set as per case, marshalling strategies set correctly, and the work item handler has it only has a service task, so that's all fine. Right, so I already built and deployed this project, so I can check to the execution servers. So the container started fine, the key server is there connected to the environment. I can also go into the process definition. So this case itself has two processes. So one is the actual case, and the other one is the sub-process. So the sub-process is quite straightforward one, and the other harder one is the actual case definition, right? All right. So since this one is deployed, so now we can jump back to the showcase, and if I hit start case, then we have the order for IT hardware, right? So the case owner, it's your current user. That's by default, that's what we want to use. For the role assignment, for this case definition in particular, it expects one user for the manager and a group for the supplier. So again, what I usually do is to use the workbench admin as the manager, and for the group, I use admin, right? So that's the group that the workbench admin user belongs to. So that way you don't need to switch users, at least for testing this the showcase, right? So hitting start, then I can see that a new case was started. I can jump back to the Business Central, look into the process instances. So there is a new order RT instance. So has the milestone, has a task already. I can look to the details of this case. So I can see all the milestones are open. The tasks that are in progress, the first milestone, the prepare hardware spec, the roles that were used in this particular instance. So now that we started the case, what we see is that a new task is created, right? So prepare hardware spec. So first step is to go into this task. Because this task is assigned to a group, you need to claim that task and then start working on that. So it requires a specification. So that's a file that you need to upload. So you can use any file just to test. You upload that file and then you complete that task. So then again, we jump to the showcase. We can see that a hardware spec task is completed, the milestone is completed, as well as the human task. So the first milestone is completed. Right. So we can also jump into the process instance and check that the actual status is also moved. Right. So the next thing that happens, it's again another task. So it needs the manager approval. We assign workbench admin as the approval, so we can start working on this task. So we just approve that task and complete. Once again, we're going to see that another milestone was reached. That's the manager decision. There's another set of another task was completed here, the manager approval. Again, if we go back to the process instance, we can see in the diagram here, so the manager approval was done, and then it started a sub-process, right? Place order sub-process. So that's what we can see here in the process instances. So there's another sub-process here, and there's a human task for place order. So if we go back into the tasking box, that's the place order. So again, it's assigned to a group, so we can claim the task and start working on it. So we just want to check that the order is placed and complete the task. Again, we switch back to the case management. We can see the milestone 1, order placed, is done. Right, so there is a couple of things that happen here. We can go back to the process instance. So the sub-process has finished, so we only have the case that's running. And then we can see that, you know, this milestone 1 was reached. There's a script task here. and then the case is now waiting for the order to be shipped and for to be delivered for the customer, right? So in this context here, what happens is that it's actually expecting an external signal into the case, right? So ideally it should be like an external system that's going to flag that. But in this case, in Business Central, we can just go in here and say, go back to the process variable and manually set that the case was shipped, right? So we just want to edit that variable and set it to true, right? So jBPM is looking to the processes, in the variables, and once that variable is changed, we can see it now, once we refresh, that it was shipped, right? Again, we go back and look into the case management showcase, we can see that order shipped milestone is completed, right? So again, we have all the tasks here. In progress, we have the milestone 3, which is delivered to customer. Same thing for this case. It's actually a variable that needs to be changed. So if we look here, we can flag for the case that the order has been delivered. So we just want to set true for that variable. As we look into the diagram again, we can see that it was delivered to the customer. Once we look back here in the showcase, we can see that all milestones are now completed. All the tasks to this case are completed, and there's only one task here open, which is a survey for the user that requested the hardware, which is also the Workbench admin. So we go back to the tasking box, and there it is. This survey is there. So for the survey, I just want to start and say that I'm satisfied and it was delivered on time. Missing kit equipment, none. All good. Then I can hit complete, and that's it. So regarding the case, I can see now that there's nothing in progress. All the tasks are completed. So I don't have any open tasks here. I can go back to the process instance. I can see that the case is still open, and all the tasks related to this case in particular are done, right? So because this is a case instance and not a process instance, so there's no actual endpoint for this. We actually want to say that everything has been done for this process instance. So for this case instance. So in that case, what I want to do is, I'm sure everything was delivered to the customer. The server was responded. So now I can just close that case, right? So it goes back to the list of cases. I can see that there's one closed here. And looking back on Business Central, the process instance is gone, right? So it's not active anymore. So I can look at here, that particular one is still here. I can look to the diagram again. It's all good. So that's it. So basically for testing the case management with the showcase, those are the steps I usually take. So I hope it helps. Right? Thank you very much.